The placement of Ceres in the 11th house of a natal chart weaves together the themes of nurturing, sustenance, and the Great Mother archetype with the airy, expansive realms of friendships, social networks, and collective aspirations. In astrology, Ceres represents how we give and receive care, our relationship with productivity, and the way we process loss and return. When she resides in the 11th house, traditionally ruled by Aquarius and associated with the community, the soul's path to fulfillment is found through the cultivation of a chosen family and the pursuit of humanitarian ideals. The social gardener, nurturing the collective. For an individual with Ceres in the 11th house, the impulse to nurture is rarely confined to the private domestic sphere. Instead, care is projected outward into the world. These individuals often act as the glue within their social circles, providing emotional and sometimes literal sustenance to their friends and colleagues. They are the ones who bring snacks to the protest, offer a shoulder to cry on during a community meeting, or meticulously organize support systems for a peer in need. There is a profound sense of parenting the group. This person may feel a maternal or paternal responsibility toward their friends, ensuring that everyone is included and that the group dynamic remains healthy. Their sense of self-worth is often tied to their utility within these networks. They feel most grounded when they are contributing to a cause larger than themselves. The harvest of hopes and dreams. The 11th house is also the house of hopes and wishes. With Ceres here, there is a seed to harvest mentality regarding long-term goals. These individuals understand that dreams require consistent tending, much like a garden. They are often patient visionaries who aren't looking for overnight success but are willing to put in the seasonal labor required to see a project reach fruition. However, this placement can also manifest as a deep emotional attachment to one's ideals. If a social movement fails or a dream is deferred, the 11th house Ceres person may experience a period of winter, a profound grief similar to Demeter's mourning for Persephone. Learning that one's identity is separate from the success of their social causes is a vital part of their psychological maturation. Friendships as a source of vitality. In this house, the boundary between friend and family becomes beautifully blurred. To someone with Ceres in the 11th, a close friend is often treated with the same devotion one might reserve for a sibling or a child. They find nourishment in intellectual exchange and shared visions. Conversely, they feel most starved when they are isolated or when their social environment is competitive rather than collaborative. The challenge here lies in the potential for self-neglect. Because they are so focused on the welfare of the collective or the tribe, they may forget to nurture their own private needs. They might spend all their energy feeding the world's hunger for progress while their own internal pantry remains empty. The cycle of loss and renewal in the community. Ceres is intrinsically linked to the cycle of the seasons. In the 11th house, this suggests that the person's social life will go through periods of intense productivity and periods of barrenness. They may experience the loss of friendships or the dissolution of groups as a form of little death. The lesson of Ceres in the 11th house is to trust the cyclical nature of community. Just as the earth must rest in winter to bloom in spring, social circles and humanitarian efforts must sometimes be allowed to fall away so that new, more aligned connections can grow. By learning to nurture themselves with the same fierce devotion they offer their community, they become a sustainable source of light and support for the world. To delve even deeper into Ceres in the 11th house, we must look at the more nuanced psychological layers, the shadow of the provider, the grief of the lost vision, and the alchemical process of group healing. The shadow, the martyr of the multitude. Every Ceres placement has a hunger associated with it. In the 11th house, there is often a deep-seated fear of social starvation or being cast out of the tribe. This can lead to a shadow manifestation where the individual becomes a compulsive nurturer of the group. You might find yourself overfunctioning, carrying the emotional labor for an entire organization or social circle, because you equate being useful with being safe. If you are the one who always brings the food, metaphorical or literal, you feel you cannot be abandoned. The lesson here is learning to receive. You must allow your community to feed you back, or you risk becoming a dry well, resentful of the very people you sought to protect. The grief of the barren dream. The 11th house represents our North Star, the ideals we move toward. Ceres, as the goddess of the harvest, knows that not every seed sprouts. When an 11th house Ceres person invests their heart into a social movement, a startup, or a specific friendship circle that eventually fails, the grief is astronomical. It isn't just a bad breakup or a failed project, it feels like a death of the future. This placement requires a unique kind of resilience, the ability to mourn a lost vision, allow the field to lie fallow for a season, and then have the courage to plant new seeds in a different soil. You are learning that your capacity to nurture is infinite, even if the specific vessels for that nurture change. Productivity and the collective pulse. Ceres governs our relationship with work and doing. In the 11th house, your productivity is rarely a solitary endeavor. You likely find that you bloom when you are working in tandem with others. You are the person who can turn a disjointed group of individuals into a focused, productive ecosystem. You have a natural instinct for social ecology. You understand who needs what to thrive. You might notice that a certain friend is wilting because they aren't being heard, or that a project is failing because it lacks nutrients, resources/funding. You are the one who knows how to fertilize these situations to bring them back to life. The World Mother archetype. On a high vibrational level, this placement moves toward the archetype of the World Mother. This is the person whose care extends beyond their bloodline to the entire human family. You may find yourself drawn to global nutrition, working with food security or environmental sustainability. Social safety nets, creating systems that catch people when they fall. Intellectual midwifery, helping others birth their best ideas within a group setting. Synastry and connection. When someone else's planets touch your 11th house Ceres, or vice versa, a powerful bond of spiritual kinship is formed. You don't just like this person, you feel a biological level urge to see them succeed. You become their patron, their cheerleader, and their steady ground. In a community, you are the one who ensures that the outcasts are brought to the table and given a plate, embodying the true spirit of inclusive, communal care. When Ceres occupies the 11th house, the sign it inhabits acts as the soil and climate that dictates how you cultivate your community and what kind of nutritional value you bring to your social circles. The sign flavors the specific way you mother your friends and manifest your long-term visions. Fire signs, the passionate catalysts. In fire signs, Aries and Leo, Sagittarius, Ceres nurtures the collective through inspiration, leadership, and bold action. Aries, you nurture your friends by encouraging their independence and bravery. You are the first responder of the group, providing care through quick, decisive acts. Leo, care is expressed through creative encouragement and warmth. You find sustenance in the spotlight of your social circle and nurture others by helping them find their own inner king or queen. Sagittarius, you feed the group with wisdom and expansion. Nurturing happens through shared adventures, philosophical debates, and pushing the boundaries of what the group thinks is possible. Earth signs, the practical builders. In earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Ceres provides tangible, grounded support. You are the provider who ensures the group's foundation is solid. Taurus, you nurture through physical comfort and reliability. You are likely the friend who hosts dinners or provides a stable, sensory-rich environment for your tribe to relax in. Virgo, care is expressed through acts of service and organization. You find fulfillment in fixing the broken parts of your community and offering practical, meticulously researched advice. Capricorn, you nurture the group's ambitions. You provide the structure and the tough love necessary for your social circle to achieve high-level success and long-term security. Air signs, the intellectual connectors. In air signs, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Ceres nurtures through communication, ideas, and social justice. Gemini, you feed your community with information and variety. Nurturing occurs through lively conversation, keeping everyone connected, and being a bridge between different social spheres. Libra, care is filtered through harmony and aesthetics. You nurture by playing the mediator, ensuring everyone feels heard and that the group dynamic remains balanced and beautiful. Aquarius, in its natural house, Ceres here is the ultimate humanitarian. You nurture through radical acceptance and intellectual freedom, feeding the group's need for progress and unconventionality. Water signs, the emotional healers. In water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Ceres nurtures through deep empathy, intuition, and emotional safety. Cancer, you are the literal parent of the group. You nurture by creating a safe, womb-like atmosphere for your friends, often caring for their emotional vulnerability with great sensitivity. Scorpio, care is intense and transformative. You nurture your community by helping them navigate crises or deep psychological shadows, offering a loyal presence in times of total upheaval. Pisces, you nurture through spiritual compassion and unconditional love. You find sustenance in the psychic undercurrents of the group, often acting as the healer or mystic for your friends. When Ceres transits your 11th house, the focus of your nurturing energy shifts from the private self to the public sphere. This transit acts as a seasonal checkup for your social ecosystem and your long-term aspirations. It is a time when the universe asks you to consider what you are feeding into the world and, conversely, what your community is feeding back to you. The season of social cultivation. During this transit, you may find yourself feeling an increased sense of responsibility toward your friends, organizations, or activist groups. It is a period where you are likely to take on the role of the caretaker within your network. You might find yourself organizing a fundraiser, hosting a gathering that feels more like a family reunion than a party, or simply being the person everyone calls for grounded advice. The 11th house is the realm of the chosen family. When Ceres passes through, the distinction between a casual acquaintance and a sibling often thins. You are looking for substance in your interactions. Small talk feels like empty calories, while deep, vision-oriented dialogue feels like a feast. Harvesting your hopes and dreams. This transit often marks a harvest period for projects you have been working on within a group setting. If you have been planting seeds of collaboration or working toward a humanitarian goal, Ceres here can bring the fruition of those efforts. It is a time of productivity where the crop of your hard work finally becomes visible. However, because Ceres is also the goddess of the seasons, this transit can occasionally bring a winter to your social life. You might realize that certain friendships or group involvements no longer provide the nourishment they once did. If a connection has become barren, this transit may prompt a period of grieving followed by a necessary release. You are clearing the field to make room for new growth that is more aligned with your current soul sustenance needs. The return of the Persephone archetype. On a psychological level, a Ceres transit through the 11th house can trigger themes of loss and return regarding your place in society. You might experience a temporary feeling of isolation or being cast out, the winter, only to find a more profound, more authentic sense of belonging later, the spring. It is also a time when you might feel a maternal or paternal pull toward a specific cause. You aren't just interested in a social issue, you want to mother it. You want to protect it, feed it, and ensure it survives. This is a powerful time for anyone involved in non-profits, community organizing, or collaborative arts, as your ability to provide soul food to the masses is at its peak. Navigating the transit. To make the most of this period, look at your social calendar and your dream list and ask: is this relationship fertile? Does being around these people leave me feeling energized, fed, or drained, starved? What am I planting for the future? Am I putting my energy into a vision that can actually sustain me and others in the long run? Am I overextending? Ensure you aren't so busy feeding the multitude that you forget to save a portion for your own inner child. In short, Ceres transiting the 11th house is an invitation to become a conscious gardener of the collective, ensuring that the seeds you sow today will lead to a bounty that can feed your entire community tomorrow. Subscribe, like, and share.